Well, good morning and welcome to Rambling. I'm your host Peter Canale with my fellow host
Hi, Ryan Irving.
Ryan Irving. And today with us we have a very special guest. He's a teacher here of some 30 odd years. He's your Latin teacher, your Greek teacher, and that guy you see taking pictures of you sometimes when you don't want it, when
Well
you
said.
don't want to be taken. And well, it's Mr. Lauber.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. All right,
Well,
Peter.
Mr. Lauber, from having you in class and you have a very distinctive teaching style. And one of the things you do
You mean
is
out of control?
yes,
That's okay.
yes,
They
exactly.
did yoga today.
We did yoga today. That's something we'll talk about later. But what I want to ask you, because you bring up a lot of movie references and you talk about TV shows and all that other stuff. So I want to know, what's your favorite movie that shouldn't really be your favorite movie? Like if someone who's
a really bad movie that you love.
a bad
Mr.
movie you
Lauber's
love.
All right,
Shameless.
I have a good one for that. It's called Loophole, and it's a bank robbery movie. It takes place it's filmed in the early '70s, and Albert Finney, you maybe not know, he's a good actor. He just died recently. And who's the guy who played the president in West Wing? What's his name?
I know.
You know who I mean.
I know who you mean.
It'll come to me in a minute. It plays a young architect, and it is. I watch it over and over again, and it's not bad, but it's not good. It's very dated, and I don't know why I like it. I don't like it.
My dad has this
But
one.
what's my favorite movie for the last 5-6 years that I watch over and over again?
Oh, is that
Come
one
on.
movie? Is that one
Arrival.
movie? Arrival.
Good sci-fi I like. I don't like bad sci-fi. No laser guns.
Do
But
you
good sci-fi. Arrival's a fabulous movie.
have a go-to movie that you play for your students?
No.
You think? No.
Oh well, for years I showed Greek one, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
We watched. I think it's called The 300 in Mr. Jennings' class.
Oh yeah, sure.
For when we were
I
studying.
won't show
Yeah,
that because
little
there's
known
absolutely
movie,
nothing
300
accurate in
there.
that movie except that there was a battle at a place called Thermopylae. Nothing in that movie is accurate
Yeah.
at all, and yet it's fun.
Yeah.
I own it.
Yeah.
I watch it, but it's completely nonsense.
Yeah.
My dad has this one thing. He watches this movie Kangaroo Jack over and over again because he's just
Is that the one in Germany?
yes.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
No, so because he's watched this movie like a million times. It's just like watching because he watches TV at night,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is that how you stumble upon most of these movies? Or
No,
you
as a
kinda
kid,
look
I
for
did
them?
at night on TV. You can't believe we had to turn the channels, man. It was pretty wild.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
Click, click, click.
Cannot imagine.
Changing
It was
the
pretty
channel.
wild. Like rotary phones. You guys don't get it. The phone company used to call you to see how many extensions you had because you had to pay for extensions. So my uncle worked in the phone company, so he gave my mother an extra extension, a phone. So he would warn us. He'd call and say, hey, they're doing checks in your neighborhood. So we have to unplug the extension because they would call and they could tell if you have 1, 2, and you got to pay for those. So it was pretty criminal behavior. But yeah, I enjoy films. I have go-to films for action. I have go-to films if I want a good cry, like Arrival at the end. I bawled. I absolutely bawled and tears flowed at the end of Midnight Sky, a recent movie just came out, George Clooney. I wept.
Was
It
that
good.
the one where all the humans have
Yes,
to
have
leave?
to
Or
get
my
off.
my dad
Yes.
my dad wanted to
Oh,
watch that movie, but I just
wept.
yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
What about that movie? I just had it in my head. It was Die Hard. Is Die Hard your go-to action movie, or
No, Die Hard's it's one of the worst fun movies ever made.
is it a Christmas movie? Is the real
No,
question.
no, it's not. I get it. It takes place during Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
100% a Christmas
Sorry,
movie.
sorry.
We were talking to Coach Noel was here last episode.
Mhm.
He said best movies that he's ever seen were the Bad Boys trilogies with Will Smith.
Yeah, I know about them.
Yeah,
I
I've
like
never
Will
seen
Smith in certain movies.
Will Smith's great.
I liked him in that movie. He's the last man on earth, Omega Man or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
I Am
The
Legend.
modern remake.
I
No,
think.
Is it Legend? I Am Legend.
think
I
it's
don't
I'm
think
like-
that's that.
Where he's
They
with the
remade a movie
dog?
called Omega Man with Charlton Heston. That's what I knew from the '60s,
Mm-hmm.
which was a great movie. The Will Smith version I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, you wanna hop
Well,
off
on those Bad Boys for Life movies, like those cop movies, buddy cop movies. My favorite, I had a list. I was gonna make a top 5 list for this episode, and it was gonna be the top 5 buddy cop movies,
Mhm.
and I put the other guys on the top of that list.
I
Would
know
you-
it
would you agree
exists.
with
I've
that?
never seen it.
You've never seen the other guys?
Is that the one where in the beginning 2 guys jump off a building?
Yes, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen the beginning of that movie. I know it's funny. I like comedies. My wife can't stand comedies. I enjoy comedies, but I can only watch them alone because she can't stand it.
Yeah.
I like some romantic comedies are fun too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you said you've been working here, what, 30
Well, I'm here
years?
like 29 years. I've been teaching
29
for
years?
32, 33 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's weird. It sneaks up on you. I
Yeah,
mean, I have a
yeah.
30-year-old son who's been teaching here for 8 years, and it's like, where the freak did the time go?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
actually, speaking of, you having a son
The
that
time
works
went
here.
here.
You mentioned like a really funny story that you have with
Well,
your son.
When my son arrived, I had to really
Yeah.
chill my behavior a little bit because I would embarrass him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I had to really be careful. And a really funny story. Mr. Foley, who just retired, taught here for 50 years. He claims it's one of the best stories he's ever heard. And he's been here a long time. He knows a lot of stories. I, for some reason, had never done it in years. You know when you cup your hands and you blow and you can make a horn sound?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You go, "Woo," you know? And I said, I haven't done that in a long time. And I tried to do it. The kids are watching me, of course. It's the beginning of class. They're not all there yet. And I finally got it. Woo, I won't do it now because of the mask. And I taught them how to do it, not realizing that a whole room of kids doing this before the mask. It's really loud. Now,
Yeah.
I did not know that my son was teaching in the next room that period. I just oblivious. I'm in my room. I don't know who's next door. And suddenly he's standing in the doorway, leaning there with a look of death. And I was like, he said, I'm trying to teach. And I just slunk down and said, I'm sorry. As if the parental role was reversed, which,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he left. And the kids were like, oh, damn. Like, really, like, it was tense. And one kid said, who was that? And I looked up and I said, it's my son. And
Was that when he just started
For a
teaching?
moment, the kid said, who was that? And I said, that was my son. And for a moment, there was quiet, and then they exploded in laughter, clearly at my expense, that I just got smacked by my son for my behavior.
Was that when he just started here?
He'd been here a few years. That was only like
Yeah.
maybe 2, 3, 4 years
That's
ago.
hilarious.
But I tell the story, Mr. Foley says, tell the story, and he like, basically falls off his chair every time he hears it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Peter?
You got the questions in front of you.
So we were talking to some people today. They said something that they love about your class, that you play music
Sometimes in the
during
beginning
class.
of class,
Sometimes
yeah.
you play music.
There was a great year where I had the whole class, and we taped it, and they put it on Instagram. It was the class singing "Fly Me to the Moon," Frank Sinatra. I put the words and
Oh
the
wait,
music up.
that was last year.
Was it last year?
It was last year. I remember that.
Not a couple years.
I didn't see
ago?
that.
A
There
couple
was,
years
it
ago.
was a Greek class. You did it.
I haven't done Instagram in a
I-
couple
I
years.
think
though,
you're
so I think it
thinking
was a
of-
couple years ago.
We went
think it's-
caroling with Mr. DiGiorno's Latin
No,
class,
no,
and we
Whatever,
sang.
but
I'm not thinking of
it was
that.
great having them sing. Fly me to the moon. I can't sing, but we had a good time. And I will sometimes expose them to music they've never heard. They want me to play things that I dare not play because I'm sure it's like we did this to that, behind to that, with to that. I won't do that.
Can't be doing that.
Yeah. But I do occasionally expose it to like '60s music and Wagner.
That's
Play
the music of your
some
child.
funeral
Even,
march of Siegfried kind of stuff. Yeah.
even though you're not really that old, being that like there in the '60s, that's the music you really grew up
Late.
with, right?
I was born in 1960, so I remember the songs from '68 and '66 and '66. I don't really remember '68 when Dr. King was killed, but I do remember that things were bad and my parents were very upset. I do remember that. I don't remember it being Dr. King was shot, but I remember shortly after that was why that was a bad time in my family. Very rough time. Yeah. The war was on. I remember that. And I watched the news, and every night they gave you a body count. This many Americans died today, and we killed this many Viet Cong. And I was like, well, this is all. What is going every night on the news? And they show you clips of the jungle and fighting, and it was like this was normal.
That was the first TV.
That was normal.
That's
Like,
what the whole thing. It was the
37
first TV
Americans
war,
were killed.
right?
Well,
First
yeah,
TV.
it was, yes, which is partly why the war came to an end because people saw it and went, what? It's almost like the civil rights. When on TV they showed dogs attacking peaceful marchers and fire hoses, people went, really? This has got to stop. You know what I mean? So the TV helps move things along. It takes longer without TV for stuff to spread.
And a great Mr. Lauber quote that happened recently this year said the '70s were wild.
They were.
What
Very
what's
wild. Clothing, social mores, behavior. Oh my God.
what's your favorite
It just
thing of a bygone era that was the '70s? Like your favorite
the music.
aspect.
The music was all pretty. Heavy metal, Led Zeppelin. We loved Led Zeppelin, but still, most music was singer-songwriter. They made a lot of money. Thank God bless them. They don't make as much money now because of concerts and albums and sales. But singer-songwriter, and it's 99% of it, in my opinion, was all about love and positive. And I miss that. I really do. The music, I like the music now. Some of it, you guys don't listen to the stuff I listen to, but alternative rock, folk music, like on WFUV, the University. Good stuff. There's good stuff being written. But now it's more like, why am I unhappy? Why is the world screwed up? It's not. Like, isn't life great? Let's fly in a jet plane, and then, you know what I mean? That was great times. Carole King and James Taylor and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Oh my God.
I was curious about yoga today during class.
Well, with this 80-minute classes, which I love, you do something else, you change it, then you have a break. The guys can go to the bathroom, whatever. And anyone who's had me knows I hate downtime. It's like, let's keep teaching, let's keep talking, let's have fun. So I keep talking. Like I tend to talk through quizzes. It's like I can't keep quiet. So I've been better this year.
Very helpful.
I've been very better this year, and I think last year was better too. I'm getting better. And I'm going to miss it today because I'm here with you. I have an afternoon Wednesday afternoon, but it's worth it. You guys are great.
It is worth it.
But
maybe
I
you're
had
on
you guys do a
Ramblin.
couple positions: Warrior 1, Warrior 2,
Maybe
and
we
then
could,
we did triangle. Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Maybe
So
we could
did
do
you
a
guys
little-
enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Maybe we could do a little extra.
Absolutely.
A little extra. A little some more,
Yeah, I'll show you a couple
Warrior,
of other moves.
what's the one? Bird dog. I know that one.
Bird dog. I don't know bird dog. There's all kinds of things. And
There's
some of
it's
the
crazy.
some of the titles are different. You know? I like when you're on the pigeon when you're on the ground. That is one heck of a hip leg stretch. It's like, oh, it hurts so good. You know, you hold it for like 3-4 minutes, and
Let's
it's
hope it
like,
doesn't get clipped.
oh my god, it's great.
Um,
But I enjoy yoga.
something I wanted to ask, because you're a Latin teacher, like teaching a classical language like that, like what do you think has been the greatest benefit of knowing Latin that well in your life that like someone
Well,
probably wouldn't expect?
knowing English, appreciating English. You know, besides when you learn Latin and Greek, there's a lot of history and culture, of course, but we're focused on the language in our courses. We do culture and history. Obviously, it comes up, and you know, sometimes it's actually units within it. Like I do some mythology, I do some other things, different things for Latin and Greek. But the idea of really learning your own language well and why it operates the way it does, and but you know, but the thing about the reason I teach Latin and Greek, because it's probably the only thing I can do, but the reason I think it's good for you guys is it not just teaches you English and really, you know, it's not the people who I see, it's whom, you know, little things like that, but it's also, it gets you to think, analyze, reflect, what's going on there. Don't just make these vocab translation mistakes. You know, the words are in that order, so that's what it means. Not at all. You know, so getting you to think and learning English, I think that's the great benefit of it.
Yeah.
I think, you know, all that SAT stuff and vocabulary stuff, that's true, but that's, you know,
That's the stuff. I mean, that's the
to me,
stuff
that's
I hear
lower
about.
level. You know, that's
Yeah.
like, you know, lower level skills that you get from it. You do get them, but the higher level is the thinking skill.
So
I enjoy it.
I'm in your Latin class, obviously.
Exactly.
That's I will say I never knew how to diagram sentences like underline like before Latin last year with Mr. Cinti. I didn't know
Right.
underlining.
And
the
our
verbs
system's a
and
little
stuff like
different, but it's basically the
that.
same
Yeah,
thing.
it's the same.
That relationship, that closeness between teachers and students has not changed.
Do you think that has been hurt any bit by like this freshman? Like freshmen coming in, do you feel as connected to them as you do?
No, you get to learn them. You get to know them. I mean, they're
well,
like they're
I mean,
knuckleheads, you know.
in this year of COVID. In this year of COVID.
This is hard. This
Yeah.
is
How is
hard.
it? How is
It's
this
harder,
year been
right?
for
Yeah,
you?
I think it's hard because I'm hard enough with faces and names, and the idea of I learn names by giving back quizzes. I'm like, hey, good job. Hey, what's wrong with you? You know, but I got a face and and a name.
What's wrong with you?
You know what I mean? I hold like, oh, John, that's right, John. You know, and I'll get to know the names. I'm a last name person, but still, it's harder this year because I'm not handing stuff back.
Yeah.
And correcting online is a pain. I like having the paper
There have
because
been
really
several-
I can spread out 3 guys and go, oh yes, you did compare, you did cheat. It's hard to do now because it's you click one after the other on the screen. You know what
There
I
have
mean?
been several meltdowns during class where you're just like trying to write on the Schoology,
Yeah.
and you're trying, it just doesn't do it, and the magic pen breaks.
Oh, my
No,
pen?
yeah,
I
your
call it
pen
my
breaks.
magic pen. What do you actually call it?
It's a stylus.
Stylus. Yeah, I
Yeah.
call it the magic pen
Magic
because to
pen.
me it's
It is
just
a
it's so
magic pen.
wide. It's a magic pen. This is great.
There've been
I got a
sev-
good one. The one that my computer, my yoga. I have a yoga computer. Is that
Whoa.
amazing?
Now
Look at
that
that.
is cool.
That's pretty cool.
Colin
That's
also
that's
has a yoga
serendipity.
computer.
I love it. And when I first got it, the pen was it detached. It click, it comes out, but it looks like a lady's cigarette kind of thing. You know, those old fashioned, really thin. Like, I can't use this. So I bought it's a pen, and it was like $80, but excuse me, Bamboo, I think is the company. It's great, but I think this does not handing papers back, spreading out. What are you gonna do? You make the best of it. Try and be, you know, it's not the same experience for the freshmen that you guys had, but it's still good. I mean, you're still, you know, it's still okay. I'm glad they're here. We're here. That the guys are together and we're laughing at each other. It's great.
Has remembering names been tough?
Well, again, it's always tough for me, but now with masks on, it's even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always takes me a good month to get everybody's name down.
What do you do if you're like talking to a kid and like you don't know his name?
I just don't use his name. I say, dude.
But have you ever tried just like, because I'll do this with family members if I forget, like, oh, like your third cousin on the fifth.
I have to ask my mother what are my cousin's names sometimes.
I can't do that because I
forget.
feel bad, so I just
Yeah.
wait. I just wait to hear it from
Yeah.
somebody else. Like, have you
Oh,
ever had
sure.
to do that?
That
Have you ever
happens.
had to do that for
That
a
happens.
student?
When you come back, all students, when you come back at any reunion or come back to visit, you must tell us your name. I remember every kid. I remember where they sat. I don't know what I taught them. I don't know if they graduated last year or 15 years ago, but I know where you sat, which means I taught you, obviously, but not Greek or Latin. I don't know. But you have to tell us your name. You have to say, like, if I was coming back, I'd say, hi, Mr. Smith, Christopher Lauber. Mr. Smith would say, oh, I know your name. Now,
Yeah.
I recognize your name. Did I know your name? sometimes it pops in, and that's like, there's God on my shoulder? Sometimes it's like, I do not know your name. I
Yeah.
know you, but it's embarrassing. So always say your name when you say hello,
Well-
because that lets us off the hook.
We're gonna test those recollection skills
Down the road?
right now. Actually,
Let's-
Oh,
Yeah,
get
let's
out
do
of
it.
here.
We've got-
What do you
we-
mean?
our crack team of researchers, they pulled up some old teacher quotes in the yearbooks from the time that you've been doing the
Yeah.
yearbooks, and we're gonna see if you can name the teacher who
Really?
quoted
Who
it.
said the quote?
Oh, that's
said the
hard.
quote?
But
Oh,
let's
come
try.
on,
I doubt I'm
you
going to get a
make all the
single one.
yearbooks.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You write these in. You got
Yeah, please. Kids do it. I do it. I proof it. But a poetry quote. I know who did it. But
No,
try
no,
one.
no,
Let's
no,
see.
no.
No, it's gonna be the,
it's the
teacher. So the
teacher
teacher
at
chose the
Fordham Prep.
quote for the yearbook.
Show me. Try me. I'm
Alright,
not sure what you mean then.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. In 2011, which teacher had that as their quote in the yearbook?
I have no idea.
It was Mr. Bukowski.
Why would I know that?
Okay. How about all right. How about this one? Eat plenty of lasagna till you know you've had your fill. Who said that?
Again, why?
Oh, come on, Mr.
I'm
Lauber.
sorry,
When I
man.
tell you who said this,
Go ahead.
it's your son that said this.
Mr. Lauber?
Yes,
Mr.
yeah.
P. Lauber?
P. Lauber. I always get the first. You guys' first
I get his
initial
emails
stuff.
sometimes. They're asking me like about English homework. I'm like, yeah, wrong Lauber.
Mm.
I think I'd rather jump in a lake than teach English.
And the
Well,
funny
you
thing
kinda
is,
teach English to an extent.
well, yeah, but I don't have to read your stuff.
That's
That's
true.
true.
I do not want to. Mr.
I-
O will say to me, Mr. Polo will say, I have 45 essays to read. I'm like, oh my God.
I still don't
You know.
understand how
And you're like,
teachers
I-
could possibly do that.
I know. How about history teachers? Mr. Nolan reads so much stuff for AP US. I'm like,
and you're like, I have 45 sentences to read today.
yeah, but I'm like, I know what they mean.
Yeah.
I don't have to follow your stream of consciousness. You know what I mean?
Mm.
What's he trying to say? Well, that's wrong. It's singular, not plural. I think my correct thing is like bing, bing, bing. By comparison.
Yeah,
Good
that's
Lord.
Talk to us about your dog more.
We just got Daisy. I had dogs as a kid, and as an adult, I've never had a dog. And my wife was like, no, because I'm going to end up taking care of it. And you're at work all day. And remember, for 20 years, I did admissions besides teaching. So I was out in the afternoons visiting schools. Certain times of the year, I was never around. In September, Christmas was so busy with the report cards and stuff and making decisions into January. So she always said no. And they started this, like, our neighbor has a dog. They're there 7 years, and they're moving. And Tycho and I are pals. He tries to sneak over to my house every so often. I dog sit for him. If they're away for a week, he lives with us. And we're good friends. And they're moving. And I was like, and that's funny because I say Tycho is moving, which is weird. People are moving, they're taking Tycho. But Tycho's moving. And Mr. Lauber and my wife were just joking at Thanksgiving, like, you should probably get a dog. You're going to miss Tycho. I was like, oh, that'd be nice. But my wife doesn't want a dog. So in Christmas, it came up again. Again, the only one with us was our son, Mr. Lauber, because he lives here, and I see him at work. So we're like, okay, we can deal with this. No one else was at the house, And they said it again. My wife was like, maybe you should. And I was like, okay. And her eyes went like, what did she just do? And she was like, well, okay. And she loves Daisy. She's very happy now. Because we're empty nest. We have no kids in the house now. So it's like, we got a kid again. So my son was visiting friends in LA over Christmas, right after the Christmas day. Flew out there. And we started looking on websites out there. You couldn't get dogs here. It was hard. So there were dogs there. And they got a big shipment of dogs because they found this hoarder with like 100 dogs in a yard, including dead dogs. And it was awful. And there were a number of small ones. I don't want a big dog. I don't want a real dog. Do you know what I mean? I can't deal with a real dog going out running in the water and the mud. I can't deal with that. Labs and stuff getting that way. They're too big. And so Daisy is a Dachshund Terrier mix. And so she's smaller than I actually expected, but she's not tiny. She's not like a toy dog. Oh, God, no.
She's only a year old.
She's about a year old, and she's great. She's just fabulous. I miss her. I want to get home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I remember,
And we got quarantined. I got quarantined the day after we got her.
Oh, that's nice though. 'cause
Oh
then
my
you
God!
can
I spent
spend-
2 solid weeks all day with her. I'm like a normal part of her life. You know what I mean? She's like, "Where's Christopher?"
Yeah.
I remember I got quarantined too, so I'm sitting on Zoom and I see the first thing I was there early because I had woken
Yeah.
up early.
You saw
And
me
you're
with my
like-
dog.
The dog's just on your lap the
Oh, yeah.
entire class.
Yeah.
I mean,
When I teach from home, I show you the dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's great. I'm so happy. I can't tell you. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was looking at her. She was asleep next to me. I was like, oh my God. I mean, welled up. I'm just so happy. It's like having a kid again in a way,
Yeah.
well, there's one aspect that, like, I remember you would say if you were sick, you wouldn't actually stay when you had kids. At the
Oh my
house.
God.
You
No, I wouldn't stay. I
home.
go to work. My
Yeah.
God. When my wife managed to stay home for 9 years with the kids. They were like 4 years apart, but for 9 years she was home. And in that period, there was no way I would stay home when I was sick.
Yeah.
Because could you do this? The kids screaming, the kids coming in, where's daddy? I'm like, you can't get, I need to rest. So sometimes I would come in and not teach. I remember admissions office, I'd lay down on the couch 3-4 hours and get a good nap. I had to sleep. I was
wish.
sick as a dog. Sometimes I would teach, but then like power nap time, just to get, and then we'd start class, But stay home with kids. Oh my God, when you're sick, no, women have it so bad.
So Ryan,
How
after
you get away with that?
after the yoga, Mr. Lauber told us the story of him, not coming into school when he was sick. He just said, "I laid right there."
Oh,
and I
there
fell
were
asleep."
at least 2 times when I actually just was so overwhelmed with being sick and junky and feverish. I said, "Dudes, let's take a power nap," and I laid down on the floor. I laid
love
myself
that. I
down,
love
and I
that.
was fully asleep on the carpet, like on my side, just out for like 5 minutes or so, like a power nap, and I felt so much better when I got up. I was like, "Okay, let's go."
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wish maybe a teacher had walked in on you to see you on the floor.
I wish teachers would set about like 5 minutes out of every class, just
Power
quick
nap?
power
I
nap.
know. I
Everyone's
tell
got their,
kids,
like, designated stations.
I'm sure you've heard this. I say, if
Yeah.
you got a nap, you got a nap. My freshman year, I was stayed up way too late, and my first period class was Father Montier, rest in peace, Spanish one, and he let me sleep. I mean, I would get there, I'd be like, boosh, and the drool, you know what I mean, just out for like 5-6 minutes, and I was good. Well, maybe it was 4 minutes to me, whatever it was, and he never bothered me about it, because he knew I wasn't, being a slug. I was exhausted from staying up too late, and I wake up and I was fine. I got straight A's. It was great. So.
I love when you have that situation, because like obviously, especially as a freshman, when you're not used to like the high school workload, you gotta stay up late and you don't get a lot of sleep. I love the teachers that will like recognize that you're about to fall asleep, and then they like liven up the class a little bit.
Sometimes.
And then I mean, it's also nice to.
I also like making fun of guys. Like, dude, what's going on?
That is true.
What's going on over there, man? You gonna wake up?
You also have your fair share of, I like to call them Lauberisms, like things you say that stand for certain things. What's your most, like, your favorite one to do? Like, is the Latin dance your favorite
Oh yeah, Latin dance, Greek dance. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, something really cool, a translation of some kind of grammatical thing, and it's like, oh yeah, it's this little, that's good. Latin dance. Yeah.
Like the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, noun genitive. You guys know our stuff better than we do.
Something that I wanted to bring up is like, if you're not a student of Mr. Lauber, like, you are famously known as like the person that will like go around taking pictures of people.
Sure, yearbook. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just wondering, because like I know a freshman who is like on the smartboard in the comments, it's just like his face.
Oh, the mask.
Yeah. Have you ever had a kid be like,
I
I don't want a picture?
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was one kid who preferred not to be up there. There was a teacher that we brought up an old photo, and he did not want that photo being shown anymore, because I didn't even realize he was in the photo. It's Mr. Lagama, your boss.
He made
me take a photo down.
He was showing us his yearbook photos today. They were pretty great.
Yeah, it was a football. I'll just say they were like fans at a football game, and it's a great photo. He's like, "Could you not show that one anymore?" I'm like, "Cool."
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we gotta wrap it up.
Are we coming to an end?
Colin's yelling at me, so we'll just ask you one more question, Mr. Lauber. One more question. Colin likes mashed potatoes with ketchup on it.
That's disgusting.
There we go.
Let's go.
Really
That's
disgusting.
all we needed.
And that's all we needed.
That is all we
Thank
needed.
you all for watching.
Our last guest liked it. I don't know how.
Well, that person should be investigated.
Well, not liked it, but they approved. They approved.
No.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you to FPTV for helping us out.
Thank you, FPTV.
Thank you for having
Mr.
me.
Lauber for coming.
Thank
out.
you so much, Mr.
Real
Lauber.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Now I get to go home to Daisy and my wife, but Daisy.
Daisy first. All right.
Bye.
Cool.